Hi, in this episode we're going to talk about line comedy. Comedy is one of the most difficult genres of the art form. Music in comedy is extremely important. The use of space in between the phrases, the interplay between the dialogue and the music, artful silence, as well as instrumentation and orchestration choices, helps lift a scene and land the punchline. If you can master all of these, you can help create a perfect scene. Today we're going to take a look at a score that I worked on earlier this year entitled Walter Frisk Let's Go. The basic premise is a fish out of water story where the main character, Walter, a type A wound-up teacher, is trying to get a job at his community college. The scene we're looking at is between Walter and the person who is going to be hiring him for the job. And the director wanted a spaghetti western back and forth. So we're going to take a look at the session and analyze the importance of silence in between the phrases. Let's jump right on in.
He's funny.
You look familiar.
I'm an applicant in your department. You conducted my search committee.
We interview a lot of faculty.
It was this morning.
You were wearing something else.
It was the only item of clothing they had in stock.
Of course. Name?
Dr. Frisk, Dr. Walter Frisk.
Unusual name. Ah. Here it is.
Has the committee reached a decision?
They have.
Is that information in my file?
It is.
And?
And it's right here in the file. As it should be.
Let me start over.
Dr. Frisk?
So it's a pretty simple cue. The only thing going on is whistling, bass, percussion, and fiber slaps. It's a very, very minimalistic cue, but it's pretty effective in its minimalism. So jumping right into that. So if you notice, in my timeline, there's a huge drop. I dropped from 140 all the way down to 72. So essentially almost half tempo. And then we landed our new section.
You look familiar.
I'm an applicant in your department.
Space.
You conducted my search committee.
We interview a lot of faculty.
It was this morning.
Space.
You were wearing something else.
It was the only item of clothing they had in stock.
Space.
Of course. Name?
Dr. Frisk, Dr. Walter Frisk.
Big space.
Unusual name. Ah.
So the cool thing about this part, the pacing is the same. It's literally a phrase, space. A phrase, space for back and forth dialogue. But you anticipated him saying,
Dr. Walter Frisk.
Unusual name.
right there, unusual name, where the attack would be. But it's not. It's delayed until he puts his hand on the manila envelope.
Ah.
Bam.
Here it is.
Space.
Has the committee reached a decision?
They have.
Is that information in my file?
It is.
You notice this hit right here happens right before he says, bam, it is. So changing the cadence of the hits and the attack of the delivery gives it some lift to it. It's not so predictable. Now, in regards to orchestration, like I said earlier, it's very minimal. We have a couple instruments playing during the section. We have the timpani, just 5-1, 5-1, and then we have some rolls that are going on underneath it, timpani rolls for drama, and then we have a snare drum playing the hits with some rolls, and then we have a bass guitar just kind of plain roots. Very supportive. And then we have whistles, and we have a vibroslap. So the vibroslap sounds like this. A vibroslap. I immediately think of All Along the Watchtower when I hear a vibroslap. And the main melody is in the whistling, actually, of all things. I wanted to have contrasting whistle parts, so I whistled a part, and then I got my girlfriend to whistle a part, and we whistled in unison. And they're a little off each other. That's a trick that you can use to make it sound fuller. So we have this whistling line here. So we're whistling in unison, and that's the melody. So all these little parts are the scene. So to listen to it without the dialogue, just the score, we have this section leading up into this next section. All little automations. So we're just in A minor. Down to G. Very simple chord progression. In this last section right here, we're going to go up a half step to B flat. Harmonically, there's not a lot going on. We only have 3 tonal centers. A minor, which is our 1, our minor 1. We have G7, which is like the flat 7. And then we have B flat major 7 sharp 11, which is that flat 2 at the end. We kind of shift between all those little sections. And it's, like I said, it's not so much about all the instrumentation and orchestration. It's about the minimalism and the simplicity of the phrase. So I hope you all enjoyed the video and got a better understanding of the importance of music in comedy. It's not just about space, but it's about strategic spaces, as well as instrumentation and orchestration. Next week, we're going to take a deep dive into a feature film that I worked on last year. But in the meantime, please subscribe and ring the bell, and I'll see you all next week.